Thank you very much for being here. I like to start on time and end on time, so, and respect your time. This is the Vision Zero Task Force, and we have not met since November. But it doesn't mean that we haven't been doing work. We've been doing a lot of work, and we need to get through some things today. I really appreciate all of you that were able to make it today. We are now in a situation with the post-pandemic where we all have to be in person, or the majority of us need to be in, but we need to have a quorum in person. So thank you for making that effort. I know it was a lot easier to do Zoom meetings than it is to do the meetings in person, because you have to get in your car, find parking. I know it's something we're all figuring out our timing, right? So I'm Pam Foley. I'm the chair of this committee, and I recently took over from Raul Perales, who was the chair for many years before he termed out, and now is back in the police force, I understand. So good for him, because we need good police officers over there. So we are here for a couple of hours. We do have an agenda to go through. We have a lot of people online. We will, the committee is here in person, which is important. And I just want to welcome you and thank you all for being here. I'd also like to introduce my new vice chair, who is Councilmember Bien Duan. He's a former fire captain. And I know that Councilmember Duan is very interested in this issue and is actively aware of the importance of community safety based on his experience and his concerns for the community. He represents District 7, and District 7 has many Vision Zero corridors where we have a lot of fatalities, unfortunately. So it's really important that we have that kind of representation. So I want to say welcome to you, Councilmember Duan, for being here and participating.
Thank you, Chair.
As we always like to do, we like to start with listing the names of those who have passed on our streets through tragic accidents or crashes. Hard to call them accidents, they really are crashes. And in many cases, it's drivers who are driving irresponsibly. I know we're going to have a report on how we might change that messaging, but first I just want to focus on the names and remind everybody that while we sometimes refer to these names by as numbers, they are not numbers to us. To us, they are human beings, their family members, their parents, their sisters, their daughters, their loved ones, their coworkers, and their deaths leave a hole with their family and a hole with their community. So I just want us to be centered on what Vision Zero is all about, and that is to reduce the number of fatalities on our streets. So with that, I have a list of names that I will read, and then Councilmember Duan has a list that he will read. Maria Del Rosario Marcelo Brito. Raquel Rosas. Lena Garcia. Franklin Lopez Enrique. Unnamed male pedestrian. Kamora Marie Johnson Fisher. Sal Lehman. Ray Gavin.
Wishon Sue. Jose Angel Fernandez. Han Lee. Juan Viet Tran. Josiah Duran. Unnamed male pedestrian. Unnamed female pedestrian.
Thank you. I just want to share a personal thought. So usually these are names that we don't know the names we're reading, but the list I just read, there's a person on this list that I knew really well with my school board experience. So when I heard of her passing, it brought me to tears and broke my heart, because I know what she has done to the with the community, how she's contributed to the community. And that's just the person I know. Every one of these individuals have contributed in some way to their community. So may they be at peace, and may their families find peace over time. Before we begin with the formal meeting, I want to remind the Vision Zero Task Force members and members of the public to follow our code of conduct at meetings. This includes commenting on the specific agenda item only and addressing the full body. Public speakers will not engage in a conversation with the chair, task force members, or staff. All members of the Vision Zero Task Force, staff, and the public are expected to refrain from abusive language. Repeated failure to comply with the code of conduct, which will disturb, disrupt, or impede the orderly conduct of the meeting, may result in removal from the meeting. This meeting of the task force will now come to order. And first, I'd like Anna, you're going to call the roll? Okay, Anna's going to call the roll. And then I want to talk about quorum for a minute before we get into the first item.
Thank you. Calling addressed by Ms. Brunel. Chair Ken Foley,
Here.
Vice Chair Dean Don,
Present.
Department Transportation John Crystal,
Present.
Economic Development Sal Alvarez,
Present.
Fire Department Jen Williams, Housing Department Reagan Kenneberg,
Here.
PNS Neil Rufino,
Here.
Planning Michael Billiard,
Here.
Police Department Enquire Sherry,
Here.
Public Work Michelle Kimball,
Here.
County Department of Education, Johnny Virgil, Marianne Yuan. Present. County Emergency Medical Service, Jackie Lauko.
Here.
County Medical Examiner Coroner, Dr. Michael Jordan. Michelle Jordan, sorry. County Public Health, Rhonda McClinton Brown, joined via.
I'm present on video, and I have Michelle Wexler as my in-person designee.
Thank you. County Road and Airport, Harry Fraser.
Here.
Silicon Valley Bike Coalition, Diane Summery. VTA, Dino.
Here.
AFP Joven,
Here.
and Action is California Law. Did I miss anyone? And carefully at this time, we have quorum for the meeting in person.
Okay. How many, can you tell me how many that is? We need 11 for quorum. So I'm assuming we established 11. We have more than that.
15.
15, great, in person. Okay. We're going to have a discussion on the bylaws in a few minutes, and I know some of you have indicated your need to leave after that discussion with the bylaws. But I would encourage you to stay with us as long as possible, because if we do reduce to less than 11 people in person, then we cannot conduct the rest of our meeting. So please stay with us as long as you can. We do have 2 important presentations after the bylaws. We do need to get through the bylaws first, because the bylaws will help us be more flexible in future meetings. But this one is really important to establish the bylaws and how we can go forward and be an effective task force. So please stay with us. I know we're all busy. Everybody's busy. We all have a lot of things that we need to do, but there is nothing busier or nothing more important than saving lives. So with that, the first thing we need to do is approve do we vote on the minutes? Don't vote on the minutes. Okay, then let's move forward to the bylaws. We have Matthew Tolnay here from the city attorney's office, and he's going to walk us through the bylaws. Then we'll have go to public comment, and then have a discussion over the bylaws with a vote to follow.
Thank you, Councilmember. That's correct. And I'll try and be quick so that we can get through and do some of the other presentations. Included in your agenda packet is a draft of bylaws for the Vision Zero Task Force. as many of you know, the task force was created in 2020, but there was not a lot of guidance about what the membership needed to be. Following the first few meetings, we come up with a body that's shown up for these meetings, and we want to memorialize that, put it in the bylaws, go through the process, what the membership looks like, and also the ability to have designees. So if you open up and take a look at the bylaws, you'll see that they focus on the top part, the name and the office, the meeting place. Substantively, the number of members is set to 17, which was the guidance that was originally included following approval of the Vision Zero Action Plan. Of those 17 members, 2 of them are city council members. 1 will serve as the chair, 1 will serve as vice chair. We're also going to have members that are made up from city staff and county staff. That makes up 12 of the members, 7 of them coming from the city, and then 5 of them coming from the county. Then there are 3 spots that are set out for various non-governmental community stakeholders or their stakeholder organizations. The bylaws set out a process for how those members become formal members of the task force. The chair and the vice chair, the city council members, they are appointed by the mayor and they'll serve for a period of time that runs concurrent with their term of office. For all of the other members, they're appointed for a year term. There's no term limit in place, so you can continue to serve if you're reappointed following. You also have the ability to have 1 designee. You can only appoint 1 person to be a designee at a time, and that person is only supposed to participate as a member of the task force if you are not present. There's nothing barring them from attending the meeting, but they only have a voting role if they're not present. Beyond that, there's a process that goes into vacancy. So if you're unable to attend meetings or to voluntarily leave, there's a process out there. And then there's a process that, as the chair knows, sets out the powers and duties for the chair. Beyond that, that's the substantive sort of nature of the meeting. The one thing I want to add in with the quorum, since the set number is at 17, today our current quorum requirement is 11. Future quorum meeting requirements will be set at 9, which is a simple majority of the 17. So that'll make it easier moving forward in the future to full business Vision Zero task force. There's an ability to have special meetings, and then also an ability for the secretary to close out meetings if there's a less number of members present. But that's the majority of it. Are there any questions about the bylaws prior to public comment?
Yeah.
Gail, I'll get you any comments. So we have actually, let's hear from the members of the public first, and then we'll open it up for our discussion. Go ahead, Gail.
I couldn't hear you. Excuse me. Hi, everybody.
And just so you know, Kyle is over here timing for 2 minutes.
So I've been coming to these online for quite, for a long time now. And I was wondering, I think you should, my suggestion would be you could have another representative of the unhoused community. I think that's very important. I know we have a representative from our senior community, which is great. I'm also involved with the seniors, but I think someone to represent the unhoused committee. I just was appointed, it doesn't have to be, anyway. I just was appointed, I'm on the Walk San Jose New Committee and the Equity Steering Committee. Walk San Jose has come back to San Jose. So anyway, it's just a suggestion because as we know, we have very many unhoused people that have been killed. And as all you represent an agency or the seniors, I think an unhoused person representative should be on your committee. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments from members of the public? Is there anyone online with their hands raised? Okay. Can you identify who is there?
So Paul Stogo.
Here, sorry.
So,
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. Thank you, Senora, for bringing that topic up regarding, I would like to speak of them as people experiencing poverty, not necessarily unhoused. Unhoused and homelessness, those are symptoms. They're symptoms of larger problems. And so I think language is important. And so I just want to thank you for bringing that topic up. And here's some of the deficiencies in this Vision Zero. I've been participating since its inception. And one of the issues is that you're not collecting data on the driver. I want to know the race of the driver. I want to know how long the driver has lived in this city. I also want to know the ethnicity of the victim.
Paul, if you could hold those comments till open forum, we're talking just about the bylaws right now.
Yes. I'm talking about Article 3 under your duties. So can I have some more time? Wait. You interrupted me. I want more time now. I want the clock to restart. Under Article 3, duties. Believe me, I do my homework. So can I have the timer start again?
We're not restarting for 2 minutes. No, we will restart part of your time.
Okay, well, thank you. So I suggest you do your homework first, Councilwoman Foley, before you speak, because I do mine. So I know what I'm talking about. So under Article 3, under duties, you need to expand that. And what you need to do in terms of expansion is collecting this data that I was referencing earlier before I was rudely interrupted. Now, when you're collecting that data of the driver, you're collecting the data of the person, the victim. You're collecting two things, the social status of the victim and the ethnicity of the victim. And this is important because what is happening is rhetorically, you're using that rhetoric of racial equity and this is an equity issue. You're using that in the grants that you're submitting. And what this is doing is exploiting, once again, the people that are experiencing generational poverty. So basically what you're doing is you're monetizing the deaths of the poor in order to fortify your DOT construction projects. That's not okay. So don't do it.
Thank you, Paul.
You have others online?
We shall be. If you would like to have comment regarding the bylaw, can you raise your hand?
This is for members of the public. We'll get to the committee in a minute. If there's no hands, then let's move forward. I did see some hands here in the room, so let's start. Sal, did you?
Just a clarification in section 103, number of members. It says 6, parentheses 7 of the members. You spell out 7.
Thank you.
And then I looked at that because I had a question around it. I counted up the staff members listed and it's 8. So I'm not sure
That are currently present.
well, that are on the roster here. I'm not sure that this should be 7 or should be 8, or is there any clarity of which staff members are members?
That's a good point to point out. I think our idea here is setting a sort of baseline so we can take a look at expanding that membership. I think that might be something we look at from the city council for maybe direction.
So we have direction from the council to have a task force of 17 members.
Yeah.
The purpose of these numbers are really to codify where they come from, but also to establish the quorum as being just a majority. So I hear what you're saying, but I don't think that precludes us from the people who are around the table right now. Do you agree? Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you. I have one suggested edit.
Okay.
Page 1 under preamble. First sentence, instead of 0, it should be 0. CERO. Right under the word preamble.
Thank you for noticing that.
Otherwise, I think the bylaws look great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just,
Yes, Karen.
Jackie Lambert, I just had a question. In several meetings over the last year, some of the questions have been about a member with or discussions about someone with disabilities. And I was wondering if the advocates, I understood seniors and perhaps someone with homeless, but did we ever get anybody that was someone with disabilities? That's just a clarification question because I was just kind of curious because I know that many of these intersections and so forth is a real problem for people who are, partially blind or having trouble ambulating. So that was clarification for me.
I'm not aware of the past membership, but the provision we have here with 3 member organizations for community representatives, it's not limited to exclude a group that's representing disability. And same with homelessness. So if we end up appointing, and I think we have a current vacancy in that area, so you could appoint a group that represents that population.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Michael?
So we have, I thought we had a for disability. But anyway, so there's going to be, we only have 1 vacancy, but there's an idea or desire to appoint some representatives. And the disabled community, that's 2 people for 1 spot. So is that something the council decide to change this, or is that something we can recommend? Or we change more communities?
Well, initially, so we're trying to follow the initial council direction you have with 17 members.
Okay.
My recommendation, if we wanted to expand on the 17 members and have that be a new portion of our bylaws, would be to go back to city council for that direction to help there.
Okay.
But
It seems like there's a lot of city staff, which is great, but there should be more people that are not city staff. Out applicants on the street.
I think that's a good point that we need to bring up with council. So maybe Councilmember Dwan and I can discuss how we might be able to do that through a memo to rules or some process like that to change the actual makeup. The appointment that, as I read the bylaws, is up to the chair to appoint certain positions. But your point is well taken, Michael, because we have a lot of staff people here from the county, the city, VTA, that may not be the ones who are most, let me rephrase. They're the ones who are in the seats because it's important that they be here, but by having them there, it may take a spot from someone who is an advocate that we would want to hear from as well. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I'm not quite sure if we had a vacancy. I don't think we are. Yeah, it's big. That's big. So can I clarify on that? I think that's the we're using on our box. So right now, Joby is volunteer for APR. They are hiring a staff in the process of replacing French also. So it's not really vacant. It's just reassignment of staff. So we actually at this point we don't have any vacant for the application.
Okay. Anything else? Then let's vote on the bylaws. Anna, could you take a roll call vote?
Sure. Would you like to do a motion first? And I'll do
Oh, that would be helpful. Thank you. I should go online. I'm sorry, Lauren. I haven't gone online for any questions or comments up there. Sorry, getting used to the hybrid and you're in my back. It's hard to see. So go ahead.
Sorry to mess things up here. I had a question about the description of members. Let me go to the document. I guess it's the second page under section 103, number of members. It says 5 of the members must be decision makers from various Santa Clara County departments and recommended to the Vision Zero Task Force by Representative Santa Clara County. believe that this might be where it was intended for a VTA rep to fit, but we are not a department of the county. We're a separate agency. So I don't know if the intention was to remove VTA from the task force, or if you intended VTA to be underneath that. I would recommend modifying the phrasing if you intend to have VTA continue on the task force.
Really good point. I think VTA's participation on this task force is really critical. So would you recommend saying 4 decision makers from the county and a separate line item for VTA? Lauren?
I mean, I could leave it to you could do that. You could also maybe make it a little bit more broad, because I think the intention was for county-wide serving agencies, right? Of which VTA is one.
We could modify departments to agencies
Okay,
to county.
and leave it at, okay.
That
Okay.
sounds good.
Very good, thank you.
Gives you flexibility, but includes VTA within the scope. Thanks.
Right, no, really, really important. Okay. All really good suggestions and wordsmithing. Anything else?
Yes. Mary Ann?
Mary Ann, Dr. Dwan.
Yes, hi. I had a similar question as Lauren brought up, because the county superintendent office is a separate agency than from the county. We're not a department of the county. We're a separate agency.
That should fit under the change.
So if we change it to agencies, then instead of departments, then that should work then, both for the County Office of Education and for VTA.
Yes, it could work. I just wanted to make sure that, there is representation of the county superintendent, because of the countywide needs related to this and the intersectionality with schools and safe travel to and from school.
Yeah. Absolutely, thank you. Anyone else online?
We get.
Okay, good. Then let's vote. We still haven't done that? Yeah, thank you. Usually pretty good at this stuff. We have a motion in a second, okay. Thank you.
Member
Aye.
Member Young?
Aye.
Biscoe?
Aye.
Jim Williams? Reagan Manigo?
Yes.
Bill Rubino?
Aye.
Michael Peters? And Clay Shelley?
Aye.
Michelle Kimball? Mary Ann Dewan?
Aye.
Jackie Lawson?
Aye.
Dr. Michelle Joy?
Yes.
Randall McClinton Brown?
Hi.
Harry Griffiths?
Yes.
Diane Committee?
Great, thank you. We have bylaws now. Thank you so much, Matthew, for your presentation and your work on this. Next, I'd like to bring forth Jesse Mintz-Roth. He has a presentation on the graphic data and the action plan. And I am just going to step out for a couple of minutes and leave the meeting in charge with Councilmember Dwan.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Jesse Mintz-Roth, and I'm from the San Jose Department of Transportation, the Division 0 manager. And you've all seen me present similar things, but it is a new experience to do this in person. So the 2022 traffic collision data trends. I think most of you are aware, but in case you're not, in 2022, we had the most traffic fatalities we've had on record, which was 65. This is more than the 3 years that had previously tied to the peak, which were 2015, 2019, and 2021, in which we had 60. 2022 began in January with way more than we had ever had in a January or probably possibly in any month. And so that is really the story in a sense about how the year started and ended with the most traffic fatalities. In the map on the right, there is a line showing 2022 in yellow, and in orange, the range of 2017 to 2021, the previous 5 years of traffic fatalities, the range for all of those years by month. And so basically in 2022, the line began and continued to be higher than all of the previous months of the year for the previous 5-year range. In particular, the first quarter had a very steep slope. And then those other quarters of the year, 2, 3, and 4, were more similar to previous years. But in any case, we were very saddened to have so many people lose their lives to traffic fatalities last year. So I should say, though, that even though it's not shown on this graph, that in 2023, that our numbers are quite a bit lower. So I believe we have 10 fatalities now in April. So quite a lot lower. Looking at 2022 traffic fatalities in more detail, the 65 fatalities happened through 63 crashes. 21 of them were on what we call the priority safety corridors, where most fatal and severe injuries cluster. The individual roads that had the most traffic fatalities were White Road and Santa Teresa Boulevard. We also do other types of analyses. So on the right side of the image, you can see by mode that 32 of the 65, or 49%, were people who were killed while walking. And 8 or 12% were people killed while cycling. 17 or 26% were motor vehicle occupants, and 8 or 12% were on motorcycle. Among our analyses, we found that major roadways with posted speed limits of 35 miles an hour or higher were the site of 53 of them, or 82%. And looking at the top known violation, speeding as a contributing factor was the biggest one, with 18 or 28%. 41 occurred when it was dark out, and 32, as I mentioned, involved people walking. 19 of the 32 were people outside crosswalks on the roadway. I'm going to move into our accomplishments and work plan for part of the Vision Zero action plan. I have one printed on the table. You've probably seen it in previous years. Are the 6 areas, the priority areas of the action plan. First is to build robust data analytics tools. The second, to form a Vision Zero task force, where we are now. Third, strategize traffic enforcement. 4, increase community outreach and engagement. 5, implement quick build data-driven safety improvements. And 6, to prioritize resources on high fatal and severe injury corridors and districts. We're just calling out a few of the things as recent accomplishments, because we've done many things, but we don't want to list them all. So some call outs is that DOT received $74 million for safety projects in the last year, including 55 of them, $55 million on priority safety corridors. So that's a very exciting development for us. In the last year, 9.2 miles of quick build projects were built on our priority safety corridors, which were Branham Lane, on Kirtner Avenue, on Hillsdale Avenue, and White Road. One of the big things that we will be releasing soon, I know this is sort of the line between a recent accomplishment and the future, is an update to the priority safety corridors. We're releasing that on Monday at the San Jose City Council Transportation and Environment Committee. So if you're interested in seeing that, please come to that meeting as well. And we worked with Beautify SJ and PRNS to distribute flashlights and lanterns to 225 unhoused people at 15 locations. Moving into upcoming work, we have 8 miles of quick build improvements planned along Saratoga Avenue, Julian McKee, Blossom Hill, and Jackson Avenue, all of which are PSCs. We have 6 miles of capital improvements planned along McKee Road and Tully Road. We're working on a lot of community engagement initiatives. Today, you'll hear a presentation from one of our consultants about the exciting first major marketing campaign we're having to reduce speeding, which is called Slow Down San Jose. We have some distracted driving awareness boards out right now on roads. And we also have a major pedestrian safety plan, which I actually have mentioned twice also here. Since I'm on that one, I'll just say that that is a 1.5 year long plan, working with a consultant, and has a lot of community engagement involved. But to jump back one bullet, we're engaging with people who are unhoused about traffic fatalities soon, which is a new type of engagement for us. We think that will happen. We don't have a date for that yet, but we're going to do May, probably might still be May, we'll see. So that will be really interesting for us because, as has been mentioned, there are a lot of unhoused people who've been involved in traffic fatalities, and we want to talk to them to get input about how they see it and what we understand and what they understand. So that will be a great new thing. We are developing a school safety work plan. There will also be a presentation coming up in this meeting about that. We're initiating data sharing agreements about traffic enforcement e-citations with San Jose Police Department. We're also creating data sharing agreements with the 3 trauma hospitals in the county, working through the County Emergency Medical Services Department. So thank you, both of the task force members who are present for working with us on those. And we're updating expired engineering and traffic surveys to identify streets where we could evaluate for lower posted speed limits, which is the result of work of many years through the AB 43 Assembly bill that was passed in 2021. And finally, we're also working on building project evaluation as a bigger program within the DOT work plan, which will allow us to evaluate the performance of streets that we redesign through some of the initiatives that we've listed here. So I'm going to pass it on now to my colleague, Jim Bittner.
Before we do, I just want to thank you for that presentation.
Sure.
And for the upcoming one on the school safety work plan. And I just want to provide a little context for your topic. And that is that earlier I co-authored a memo calling for greater focus on traffic safety near schools in response to a tragic death near Castlemont Elementary of a young student, Jacob Villanueva, who lost his life while crossing the street. So with that, I'm really happy to see the Department of Transportation here and talking about school safety and how we can make our streets safer around our schools. So with that, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Jim Bittner with the San Jose Department of Transportation. Just going to go over an outreach effort that was really what I believe to be the first that I've known of in my 25 years of proactive outreach to the community, all of the schools of the city. The council member fully said the rules memo from October, there were recommendations that were specifically called out in the memo, expanding the traffic safety programs to prioritize safe routes to school, preparing recommendations for budget actions to make systemic changes to the city's traffic safety program to increase the program's reach to be able to support every school district in San Jose, as well as increasing traffic enforcement and education of traffic regulations at San Jose School. So kind of going from that, we developed a work plan to create a citywide school safety survey. That survey was distributed to all schools in San Jose, public, private, charter, K through 12. It was a kind of outreach effort that encompassed everything in San Jose, even schools that were technically in bordering jurisdictions, but had their boundaries actually with San Jose residents. So it's everybody in the city. It's about 260 schools. We summarized and disseminated the survey results from all of the schools, identified resources that we would need to deliver a focused school safety program. We're coordinating with the San Jose Police Department on the Adult Crossing Guard program to really look at what the status is and what kind of enforcement and education efforts we can do in school areas. And with that, we're going to be preparing a recommendation as part of an MBA, Mayor's Budget Addendum, in response to this memo, and it's going to be presented and submitted next week. So starting with the survey, it was comprehensive. It was very wide ranging, but like I said, it went to all 260 schools in the city, K through 12, public, charter, and private. We used Google Forms because that was the most efficient way to be able to get the data, tabulate it, separate it, summarize it, because we knew what was coming. It was going to be a lot of data. It was sent to every principal that we had contact information for. Some of them were just general emails. So there was a lot of back and forth with the districts, the private schools, parochial schools, everybody trying to get the right person to contact. With that, we were able to get 187 schools to respond, which is over 70%. There was a lot of proactive outreach from our department, from our walk and roll education program, coordinating with the county board of education, working with the superintendents, the school city collaborative, a lot of effort to try to get these principals, who are all very, very busy people, to know the value of this very focused, proactive program for the benefit of their schools. So once we got all of the data and really started tabulating the results, we started to see a pattern of top areas of concern: school traffic, pedestrian safety, and school parking and circulation, which, if anybody's been near any school, is not really surprised with those results, whether you're a parent, a teacher, or just driving through. So looking at the data a little closer, school traffic stood out for these subcategories that we were kind of selecting. Taking a step back, we had listed what we thought were generally going to be concerns that could pop out in each of the schools and asked the principals to pick their top 5. So this is where these kind of stood out. For the school traffic, we had the school-related congestion. We had actually also had an option for general congestion, whether it's just a busy arterial, or there's congestion because of other reasons or other land uses, or school-related. It was a very distinct difference, and we wanted to make sure it was related just to school traffic. And it was overwhelming how many responded to that and did not look at it in the general sense of the roadway capacity. That being said, almost 2/3 of the schools said congestion during school was a top 5 concern. As was also mentioned by Jesse, speeding is a top concern in general. It doesn't have to be an arterial, it can be in a residential street, and it doesn't have to be going above, say, 25. It's unsafe for the conditions that are out there. If you have gridlock, you have kids crossing, and someone comes through there at 20 miles an hour, that's speeding, right? So that's a general term, but that kind of encompasses both of those definitions. The second area is pedestrian safety. Over half of the schools said that there were needs for adult crossing guard. That can be a very broad definition, where maybe they had a study and they're on a waiting list. Maybe they were studied and denied, and they just want it. Maybe they want training for safety patrol. All of these things where there's a need for someone, an adult, to be out there helping the kids, whatever that means. So it's a very broad definition, but it really stood out as a very big concern for the schools. Drivers not yielding at crosswalks was almost half of them, over 100 schools. Crosswalk improvement needs, 40%. So all of those really stood out as pretty notable trends. And then the last one is school parking and circulation. Parking violations that people are seeing, nearly half of the schools. Parking congestion, separate from the school-related congestion above. People were putting both a lot, 100 schools for each of these. And that can be, we had defined that a little better, that parking congestion meant the 15-minute parking zones, the loading zones, the bus zones, those kind of things, double parking, where there's just a lot of congestion strictly related to the curbside land use on the school frontages. And it's congested and cars can't get through or kids can't cross the street, that kind of congestion on the streets. What we also asked in this survey was specifically related to our walk and roll program. We asked them if they were a current walk and roll participating school, whether they were interested in joining the school, or whether they just didn't have any interest for the school. And as part of this survey, we added a hyperlink that actually went right to the DOT homepage page that describes the walk and roll program. Because there are some schools that don't know about it, private schools especially. They just don't know about it. They don't work with the city as much. They're kind of on their little islands of doing their private school in and out. Nobody really walks as much in private schools. So we put the link in there specifically to educate them to say, well, I don't know what this is. They click on it and the whole page calls out the program and they can understand and be more educated when they answer the question. We have about 65 schools currently in walk and roll. Almost every school responded to this survey, 53 out of the 65 schools. So it kind of speaks to the collaboration that the walk and roll program brings to these schools to work together and have that partnership with the city, that when they see there's something school related, they've already been engaged with the city and are much more likely to respond. The interested in joining walk and roll was actually quite a surprise. Over a third of all schools in the city are interested in joining our walk and roll program. And what I found very interesting with that is, 59 elementary, 21 middle, that sounds reasonable, but 11 high schools are actually interested in gaining that education. And whether that means we really try to focus a different kind of curriculum training materials for high school drivers or bikers or what that is, that just was one thing that stood out. The second thing that stood out to me is 13 charter schools. And I believe we only have 3 or 4 or something like that existing. The charter schools are very interested in it. The rocket ships and bases and those kind of schools are very interested in joining this program. And 12 private schools. That was probably the number one thing that stood out to me. Private schools really haven't shown an interest. We don't have a private school that's part of our walk and roll program yet, but I think that's a great opportunity to get the word out. And I know from experience, private schools also have a lot more teachers to help with access and circulation than public schools tend to. If you're out there at 7:30 in the morning, they actually mandate that the teachers go out there and help with the access and circulation. So I think we actually have a better chance of getting that buy-in, getting those teachers out there to help us if we guide them on what the most efficient ways are to get that circulation the best it can be. The ones not interested, there were 41, which if you look at the other two numbers, it's actually a really small percentage. A lot of them actually were private schools. I think more than half of the 41. So that kind of goes back to the point that I was making before. A lot of them don't walk and roll. A lot of them have much broader areas of students coming to the school. You look at Bellarmine, for example, almost I'd say 3/4 of them take the train. They don't even drive or walk to school. So it's just a different dynamic when you're talking about private schools. But that's why I was encouraged that 12 of them did want to join the program. So this really stood out to me as something that we really wanted to get interest in. I don't think we really expected a third of the schools to want to join it. So then for the next steps where we go from here, a lot of this parallels the original slide that we were talking about with the work plan. We're looking at increasing enforcement and education around the schools. We're working with the police department. We actually just met this morning to meet with them about the enforcement, but also especially the crossing guard program, and really trying to find out how do we make better recruitment efforts out here. We have a lot of vacancies in the crossing guard program. It's a challenging position to fill. You're out there 2 hours a day. So it's a very select few that want to do it or would be encouraged to do it. How do we make that a much more marketable position? Or are there volunteer programs that we can investigate how we can try to get parent volunteers at those schools that are more invested in it too? They're not doing it for the job. They're doing it because they know half the kids kind of thing. They know the neighborhood, they know the street, the dynamic of the road. Is there a partnership opportunity there? Also looking at parking circulation enforcement through our parking compliance team. One of the things, I've been around a while, one of the things we used to do was have a dedicated team of parking officers that would go out and enforce schools only. And then they would also, after the schools were dropped off, before pickup, middle of the day, they would go out and enforce all our street sweeping signs. It was dedicated funding. It was a different animal. Maybe that's something we can investigate, try to expand our parking compliance officers. Also, roadway safety improvements. And this is kind of an all-encompassing animal. We're talking about crosswalk improvements, adding crosswalks, looking how to slower speeds, getting better circulation in the parking zones. And this is something where we're really looking at, a school safety program, school safety audits. And that's something where we go out, we work with the staff at the school, the principal, the vice principal, whoever the main contacts, they know the roads, they know where the problems are. And we use our engineering experience to figure out, you know, if you move the bus zone to the far side of your loading zones, people won't be parking in it. Simple as that. And you tell them that, oh, that makes sense. But that means we have to do this on campus. So it's a collaboration. And I've done that for 15 years in DOT. You get the relationship with the school, the relationship with the school district, and you partner up with them to figure out, you've got this much frontage, how can we use it the best we can? You've got a parking lot on site. How can we make sure the right people are using it, where the doors are, where the teachers are parking, where the visitor parking is, and work with each of these schools. This bullet alone is one of the most labor intensive efforts though, because you're doing all of that per school. And so then you have to actually come up with a work plan and then send out work orders to change the curbs, to put in the signs, to put the crosswalks in. So these are very labor intensive partnerships, but incredibly useful. And it could also be the schools changing their starting times to stagger. I worked with Lincoln High School, Trace Elementary, Hoover Middle School, right on Dana Street in the Rose Garden area. All three of those schools are very big. All three of those schools were starting within 20 minutes of each other. And Dana was complete gridlock. People were double parking. Kids were trying to cross the street. And then you have high school kids driving to the parking lot at the same time. I worked with the school district and all three principals, staggered all the starting times 15 minutes off from each other. And you had, 2,000, 3,000 kids all getting to school, but at different times. You get the high school starting first, and those kids that are driving are there before anybody even gets on the street to the other schools. Those kind of things, I've also done it for Willow Glen Middle and High School. They're right on top of each other. Those kind of opportunities take time though, and they take staffing time and that collaboration effort, but it works so well for the safety of the schools, for the safety of the commuters going through, and the people just walking through the neighborhoods too. As that last step shows right here, we also want to expand the walk and roll education efforts. That's in line with our survey that shows that a third of the schools really want to join this great program. So I'll leave it at that. That's the end of my presentation.
Great. Thank you. Before we do have one more presentation, but before we do that, I think it's really important that the task force ask questions about the first two presentations we had while they're still fresh in our memory. And particularly if we're going to lose quorum, I don't want to lose them over these discussions because these are really, really critical. I also want to remind the committee and those participating online is that this is a task force meeting, and as we have in the past, we will solicit public comment at the very end under open forum, but this is an opportunity for the committee to comment on reports and ask their questions. So with that, let's go to the committee and let's talk about the first two reports by Jesse. Any questions, comments, thoughts? Yeah.
Thank you. So Jesse, you identified like the dark hours as being one of those sort of like indicators for, is there any sort of, are pedestrians visible, or it's just a dark street? Do we know more than just that?
We don't know tons, actually. I'd say that it's an area that we're analyzing more, and we're actually quite interested in streetlight. Streetlight is something we discuss a lot. I can tell you a little bit about the nature of the conversation so far. In downtown, you may see pedestrian scale lighting. We don't tend to see it outside downtown, and most of the fatalities occur outside downtown. So we have had conversations about whether it's about pedestrian scale lighting or whether it's about, most of them occur in the street. So probably not about pedestrian scale lighting. And we've upgraded our streetlights to LED in various waves. So they're ones that and we do prioritize the ones on the priority safety corridors for upgrades. So there's different times that those upgrades have occurred over the years. And then there's also the settings that they run on at night. And there is also the spacing between them. So there's a lot of sort of subtleties to the way and nuance to the way that we've had this conversation so far. But I think that it's a challenging area to analyze. And not to, and so we've started analyzing that. But I think that we don't have necessarily the fine-tuned answers yet, just that we're sort of glad, I would say, to have found in the analysis that it's an area that needs a lot more research.
Any other questions? Comments?
Yes, it would be possible to slides sent out.
Oh, yeah, the slides are publicly posted. So yes.
Is there like a crash protocol after where someone assesses the crash with the driver and they give some more feedback as to when they say it's dark out, but the perception was by the driver as to the complications of waiting who's been held.
That's an interesting idea. I'll tell you that we do have a review internally inside the department where we go through every police report relating to a traffic fatality and look at it in the location that it happened and analyze it and make recommendations and try to work together to internally mostly to see what we can do. But reaching out to drivers is not part of it. And I don't know if it's something that we're legally able to do, but it's an interesting idea. So.
Yes.
Just a clarification question on pedestrian data. Last year was significant as a percentage of the total. The fatalities so far this year are reduced, but it seems that the pedestrian component is still way 7 out of 10, I believe, so far are pedestrians. If I'm correct. And that reflects almost an equivalent case compared to the 32 from last year. That's a valid conclusion, or are you seeing something different?
I don't know that we've necessarily done that analysis, but I think that thank you for bringing it up. In general, people while walking, they're our most vulnerable group by mode, and so they're definitely also an area that we're focusing on a lot right now. We have a pedestrian safety plan that we're working on with the consultants, so we are. I'd say we're at the point that we're at. That is sort of an analysis phase where we are. We just had our consultant prepare some really interesting maps. I'd say we just showed them internally to DOT staff yesterday. And I'd say that we are learning a lot. So I feel like it's a direction, I'm happy to sort of shepherd us toward doing this pedestrian safety work. But I think that there's a lot to be done, as you pointed out.
Follow up on that is the quick bills that were done to this point. Is there any correlation, or is it too soon to tell the impact on pedestrian safety?
Oh, that's a great question. So that was another thing that I mentioned in the upcoming work plan is to build our capacity to do project evaluations. Right now, as at this point, we've done about 3 of them, but we really, basically need more staff capacity to do that, and something that we've been working with our department to, have more capacity to do. And once we have that, we'll be able to analyze a lot more projects to see what their effects are. Because I know, for example, we build a project and people want to know very quickly how its impact is. To give an example, 10th and 11th Street, really close to City Hall here. We build a project like that. It looks really different. It looks like it'll have an impact, but we need in practice to collect data for about a year and then input that data into our system in order to have enough data to analyze. So our plan basically is that for each of our major projects to do an analysis when we have at least a year of data to be able to report on its impact.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yes.
I know originally the 17 priority corridors were looking at the 55% of the whole city footprints, and it shows now that they're at 32% of the priority corridors. Is that as a result of the improvements, or how soon these hotspots moved to other areas of the city?
Great question. Well, I think that that's a little bit of a coming back to our presentation on Monday. We're going to release a new map of priority safety corridors. I do think that the number does change year to year, though. So to some extent, there's volatility, but also it's possible that the work that we've done has reduced fatal and severe injuries on those corridors. I think there's a sort of a, two of the bullets that were on that slide. One of them is that the priority safety corridor fatal and severe injury number is down, as you point out, but also the percentage that we see on streets with a posted speed limit of 35 or more is quite high. And so I think that's sort of the direction, seeing the discrepancy that seems to show the need to update the priority safety corridors, as we should do anyway, because the data that's underlying the existing priority safety corridors predates 2017. So the newly updated ones will be using our most recent data.
So to follow up on that, Jesse, that presentation will be held at the Transportation and Environment Committee at 1:30, and it is available virtually to attend that. And actually, I sit on that committee as a committee member. So you're in that report. Then you're saying that you're adding some streets.
Yes.
Did you add Blossom Hill?
Well, yes, actually, Blossom Hill's already on it. So
Okay.
Blossom Hill is spent.
Blossom, okay, portions of Blossom Hill are on it. So is it
Yes.
heading more into District 9 towards Los Angeles?
Yes.
Okay, good, thank you. I asked because we had 2 fatalities this year in that general area on Blossom Hill Road. So thank you. I look forward to reading that. Any other questions on the traffic collision data and the work and the action plan? Thank you. If not, then I'm going to move on to any questions about the school safety plan. And Jim, thank you for that report and the details. I'm really excited to see that the survey was so broad to 260 schools and that so many actually responded. That indicates to me how important this issue is. We hear constantly as council members about unsafe driving around our schools, and sometimes it's parents, sometimes it's residents, sometimes it's parents blocking residents in their driveway. There's a lot going on, and it's in a very fine window of time that it's very, very dangerous. And you hit on a school, middle and high that's right down the street from me and where my daughter actually went to school. So I'm very familiar with that pattern and trying to avoid all of that. I'm wondering a couple of things on the walk and roll program, which is really a great program. We hear from our schools occasionally and they ask us to participate, but is it possible to give each council district a list of the schools that have these programs so that we might get involved? It's a conversation that we might be able to have one-on as council member or our office with the schools to see if they're interested, because not only does it create safety and awareness for the children, but it's a good community builder as well. In fact, one of my schools, Hacienda, has one coming up. Reedwood had a couple of weeks ago. Nodden had one about a month or so ago. So the kids actually love to participate. It's really a good opportunity to be out there. Kids are getting physical, riding their bikes, walking, roller skating, and parents are with them too. So we could have the list that might be helpful in us to help expand the program. The other thing I've noticed it is about the crossing guard program. And we all have intersections where we hear from our schools or our parents that we really need crossing guards. And I know we're trying to get crossing guards, but it's really hard. I know the budget includes some additional not compensation, but work equipment that they need. There's a potential budget item that increases that to crossing guards. But a lot of the crossing guards we think of are maybe retired who don't want a permanent job or a job every day of the week. do we do any job sharing with crossing guards? Is that a option? Can we, because it dawns on, these are retirees, a lot of them, and this is actually a target audience, because their kids may go, their grandkids may go to that school. But the next thing I'm going to get to is, can we get a list of the schools in our district that need crossing guards? Because then we can put the word out in our newsletters that this school needs a crossing guard, and our newsletter is very localized. They'll read the newsletter, and if they have kids or grandkids going there, they may think, yeah, I have 4 hours a day in the morning and after, or an hour in the morning, an hour in the afternoon that I can devote that. But I'm a retiree and I want to travel and I want to play golf. I don't want to do it 5 days a week. So have we ever considered that as a job sharing opportunity?
Question, I don't know the answer to, but I can work with the police department.
And I would know the answer to that.
Okay.
Crossing guards don't fall under enforcement, but I will ask the captain that it falls on.
Okay,
It actually falls under Michelle Barr, right?
okay.
But we can ask.
Who I would met with the.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful, because we're trying to be creative in getting crossing guards. We have a lot of intersections that are of concern, and if you have a crossing, you don't want safety patrol out there. You don't want little kids out there, elementary school kids crossing people. You want adults out there. It's a good opportunity for the crossing guard to, engage with the kids. It's actually an opportunity for them to spend time with maybe even their grandkids, but they need to know what schools they are, and they need some flexibility. So I'd really be interested to hear what we need to do to make it a job share situation. I have seen signs by various schools that say, we're hiring crossing guards. I don't know if they're effective. They happen to be at the stop sign. I seem to be passing every day, and it's still there. So I'm guessing it's not effective at that intersection, but that doesn't mean that we can't keep trying, or we must keep trying. It also doesn't mean that young Mr. Villanueva, who was killed in a crosswalk, that he would have survived if there was a crossing guard. That was a horrible situation, but it's one extra thing that we can do to try and make our crosswalks safe. So those are just my thoughts in that area. Dr. Duong, you have your hand raised. I thought you might be interested in this topic.
Yes, thank you. I had two questions, comments on the work plan for school safety. First, I just really want to applaud all the work and efforts. I do know how difficult it is to get all the information that you need and create space for all of our school leaders to be able to respond to the many surveys that they receive from different entities. So definitely want to applaud all the leaders who worked on that survey. With regard to the work plan, I'm looking at the work plan 2023 school safety, and the last bullet mentions the roadway safety improvements and specifically calls out crosswalks. A question I have is whether there's any conversation or maybe even opportunity to look at infrastructure such as sidewalks or designated walking paths more holistically in some of our communities. And then I have a follow-up item as well.
Are you looking for like specific marks on the sidewalk to designate that, or something different?
What I'm commenting on is the lack of sidewalks. There are many places where there are not safe passages or clearly delineated walking paths, maybe no sidewalk at all.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that's not, I don't see any assessment of that. And I know you know, I understand all the complexities around, you know, housing development and, you know, how all of that works. But I am aware that there are probably too many places within the city where there just aren't any sidewalks or designated walking paths from neighborhoods or homes to schools.
Yeah, that's a good point. One of the multiple choices for top 5 was sidewalk gaps or improvements needed. And so that wasn't one of the top ones because we are fortunate with all of the developments for the last 40 or 50 years. That has been a focus to ensure that sidewalks were built as part of the developments. Not to say that there are not gaps in the city. That's a definite thing that we are still trying to work on. Some are a lot more complicated if they're next to drainage ditches and things of that nature. But it is something that did come up in a handful of the surveys and helps us to flag the need for improvements at those specific areas. So it's a very, very big city. So it's great for them to bring it to our attention and see if we can make that a focus of this program as well.
Yeah, I like that response because I do think it would be a very targeted approach, not something needed everywhere, but where it's needed, it's really needed. And
Right.
so how, you know, whether it elevates in terms of numbers on surveys is up for question, but the fact that where there are none and a need for investment or planning around that, it would be a priority in those places.
Yeah.
Kind of along the same lines, you know, we're thinking a lot about climate resilient efforts and sustainability efforts. So as we think about adding sidewalks or even improving developments and their implementation of building sidewalks, we also want to be cognizant of some of the environmental impacts of concrete and blacktop and think about ways in which we can continue to promote safety and good air quality and reducing emissions as we are also making these improvements in infrastructure. So I just wanted to name that, and that there are alternatives and different ways that communities can think about sidewalks or paths that don't negatively impact the environment. And then the last item I wanted to raise was in that safe passage. So, you know, certainly we have a huge focus, rightly so, on traffic and drivers and the like. Some of our students are making choices on the path that they take or the route that they take to school based on other conditions between their home and their school. Could be, you know, highways or trash or feelings of being unsafe or unsecure. And I would just suggest that in the future that we also think about the intersectionality between some of those things and the routes that young people are choosing to take to school such that they feel the most safe in their passage.
Yeah, those are good points. Yeah. As part of, I didn't want to get too much into the detail of what we put into the survey, but where we put the multiple choices, the next question actually was an open text box to allow the principals to explain, why do you think they're speeding? Where is the gap in the sidewalk? What do you mean that there's parking issues? To give us a little more detail. And so these are the opportunities because now we have the contact information. This is something we haven't had before of every single school in the city, of knowing who to contact and vice versa for them to contact us. So this is automatically the bridging of DOT with schools across the city. But we have kind of a cheat sheet of what they were able to tell us on the surveys, and all of our different DOT teams, PD, whoever it is, has an idea of who needs to work with each of these schools. But that's something that at 260 schools is a lot more comprehensive effort. But those are great points too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Back there in the back.
So I want to add that our walkability will also be doing walking routes for upgrade schools. So they'll identify some routes to school.
Great. Thank you.
Just to also add, because it triggers something else, is the safety of students walking to and from school was one of the other things that was listed, because we had the list of about 15 different choices in the top 5. One was specifically left as other. Homeless encampments, abandoned vehicles, trash, all of those things started to pop up as one-offs, but they were still there. So there are things that aren't ignored, and they're documented now to help us to collaborate with all of the different departments in the city to find out ways we can try to address it as we can.
Great. Thank you very much. If there's no other question, Michael.
Just one quick question. So is the walk and roll program statistically been significant increase in how the kids are getting to school with a car? Just like a scooter.
Been involved.
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Has it helped increase biking and
Well,
walking?
split basically, or less kids being driven to school by their parents when you implement a run and roll program.
Yeah, so the walk and roll program manager can respond to that, but we started the program about 10 years ago. The number of children walking or biking to school increased about 67%.
Oh, well, okay.
It's great.
What?
Okay.
You have major, if I misphrase it, use system to the fact that speeding was defined by the area or like the vulnerable population. You stated that in the parking lot that cars driving around 20 miles per hour, which seemed very fast, but generally we say 20 is great, 20 is plenty. There's a lot of fatalities. And I was just thinking, like, expanding on that, if you define speeding by the vulnerable population, those that it affects, those that are differently able, the unhoused, children, just those are unprotected, it kind of gives you a different definition of what speeding really is, not necessarily going 50 miles per hour, but just something that the person or people around you can not safely navigate roads. And I think that might be helpful with messaging too. People always have to be flying down the road to be speeding.
Right.
Well, that sort of leads into our next conversation because we're going to talk about the marketing plan. Jim, thank you very much. I appreciate the information and any information you can give the districts on our schools would be really, really helpful. With that, I'm going to introduce the team from MIG to make the presentation on our Vision Zero campaign. And just to do a time check, we will move to public comment at 3:15. So hopefully we have enough time to get this done so we can have a few minutes for public comment at the end.
Thank you, Chair Foley, and thank you, Jesse, for getting these slides going. We were talking before, this was my first public meeting in several years in my life, so thank you for your. Okay, all right. So, hi. Diana, thank you so much for that segue. That was perfect. I'm glad you got my note earlier. So hi, I'm Rebecca Brown. I'm with MIT. I'm a project manager on this. I've been working very closely with Anna and the whole Vision Zero team. We've presented a couple of times online, and so I'm excited to share more with you today. Those of you who've been involved, you know that we've been working with an interdisciplinary team essentially, but we've got the Vision Zero San Jose team, which includes the city, Santa Clara County, PTA, police, everybody's been contributing. And so it's a really broad effort. All right. Today I've got an overview of the campaign, including its target audiences, media you can look for this spotting around the city, and a preview of outreach efforts. That's where our act comes in, so please make sure you're tuned in. Okay, this campaign is aimed at drivers. We learned in our research phase, remember that we did in 2021-22 that more than 90% of San Joseans drive regularly. So we're reaching out to drivers in San Jose's top 3 languages with some emphasis on younger and newer drivers to help them learn good traffic safety habits.
We've really come together. This was really what you see everyone contributing on this out of home media. So if anything you have to leave your home to see. We've purchased 11 billboards around the city, which look like this. If you go over to the west side of the building and look out the window, you can actually see one of them on Santa Clara. So
We saw it.
did you see it already?
Yes.
Excellent. The message is simple and clear. Slow down, speed limits save lives. We learned people don't recognize that just exceeding the speed limit is called speeding, but they wanted this more reckless behavior that you were talking about. So we're not calling it speeding. We're just asking everyone to slow down, and the helmet and the shoe are a reminder of why we should all follow traffic safety laws. Okay, we'll be running ads on these radio stations. And again, calling on folks to recognize their own behavior and then slow down. Would you like to listen to the radio ad?
Yes.
Oh, is it muted or something?
No.
That doesn't sound good. We'll do a video and radio in a minute. Okay, so these will play English, Spanish, and Vietnamese radio stations in those languages, as well as on some streaming audio outlets. And I will talk more about those in just a minute. We're grateful for donated space from VTA. There'll be 10 of these bus tails and 30 bus shelters in 3 languages around the city. So you'll see the transit shelter ad actually shows the second version. It's an adult and a child as seen from a driver's perspective. So you've got the little driver hand there. The subhead reads, keep families safe. And that's language that tested really well in our focus groups last fall. Please send photos if you speak these things. We always love to hear how you're finding them. All right, we are really covering the city. With Anna and Tao, just want to appreciate your work.
You see them.
Yes, we've got 155. Oh no, we've got 1,000 of these eye-level posters. 1,000 of those will be all around the city. They have the keep families safe message. We also are replacing, I know when Vision Zero was first adopted, streetlight pole banners went up. So now we've got new ones. 155 of these tall streetlight pole banners will be placed. Here is the map. This is where everything's going to be. Okay, the blue lines under everything are the priority safety corridors. Yellow is the eye level signs like these over here in the back of the room. And green is the streetlight pole up high banners. Purple stars are the billboards. These are business districts. These are near schools. There was a careful placement plan for all of those pieces. Okay, well, moving. That's the out of home like we are right now. But let's move to digital media. Of course, this is where most of us spend a lot of time online on computers, tablets, phones. The home base for all the digital components is the Vision Zero landing page. It's going to get a new banner, which uses the campaign artwork, and it leads to this page, which includes information about stopping distance, a link, some C projects over there, a link to street safety projects, and our campaign video. That's what this little images is on the right. We'll have a viewing party at the end of my presentation. We're placing digital display ads in 3 languages. There's one playing now that would show up, on the side of your browser. The ads will also run on social media, on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. We have a streaming component.
Can we go back to that again?
The video? Yes, yeah, absolutely.
That's moving. That affects me.
The car going to the crosswalk and then the helmet.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's an issue. Yeah, it's very moving.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Thank
Yeah.
you for that feedback.
Yeah,
That's
it's like,
exactly the
oh.
point. Yeah, you don't want to have that. You don't want to be behind the wheel when that happens. So that's exactly what we're going for. Thank you for sharing that experience. You may see this on YouTube or your favorite audio streaming app. This would be video, of course. These will also be running in the 3 languages. And if you'd like to share this video with your networks, we'll be sending that out in a newsletter in the next couple of weeks. Right. Here it is. No audio. I'm not going to show that. It's rolling out in full force next to Monday. You see billboards sometimes go up a little bit earlier, but please notice transit shelters, bus tails, listen on your favorite radio stations. And, as you go about your digital browsing, keep an eye out. Hoping that you'll see it.
What does possible overruns mean under the billboards?
This is just means if Clear Channel or whichever the billboard owner doesn't have somebody to place an ad immediately
Could go
after,
longer.
it could go longer.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes it's 1 day, sometimes it's 1 month. Okay, could be, who knows? Okay. So that's that story. We also have an earned media component. The public information staff has been really working on this. They have a strategy in the works. And I believe cheerfully you're going to invite folks.
I am. You're happy. Mention it and I'll reinforce it when I get to that.
All right, go ahead and pull your fence. May 8th, Chair Foley will tell you more about what she'd like to hear from you on that day. It's going to be near one of the campaign billboards, so we're hoping for really wonderful visuals for the media. And then finally, community outreach. We have created this suite of materials. We've got palm cards, that's those little black and white sides. Those are for events and tabling. We've created a children's activity book, which I'll show you in a minute, an interactive online quiz. Who doesn't like to do an online quiz? A poster for businesses to hang up in their windows or put on a bulletin board, and yard signs, which you may be able to pick up today. So Anna and the team have been working with the county, with ETA, council members' offices. We spoke with PD earlier this week. Thank you for offering to distribute some palm cards with traffic enforcement and control officers. And we're eager to connect. So anyone who's not already plugged in, but you're here in this room, please let's make sure you're plugged in and reaching out to your networks.
Are the palm cards the kind of thing that, let's say the police pull someone over for just plowing through a stop sign or going speeding lane where they say, oh, here's your ticket. Oh, and by the way, great. Okay, awesome.
Patrol guys who don't want to write the ticket. So this is your lucky day.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't cost as much to the driver, but it does have that impact, right? Like, wow, today all you did was get stopped and have that like heart palpitation and having lights behind you. But what if it had been this, right? Like, that's, yeah. Thanks for asking.
I'm glad you're looking through those things.
Are we doing questions now or?
No, like, yeah. Just my time. I'm almost done. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited for your questions. I just want to tell you a little bit more about the materials and what's going on. Let's see. So we've got commitments with organizations, thinking about school groups, including high schools. You know, those are those new drivers. We want them to have good habits. We've got seniors and youth. Those are more vulnerable as they're crossing and pedestrian and biking activities. People with disabilities, of course, you want to be involved. Everything is in 3 languages, and we're reaching out to orgs that work in those languages. And then with folks who are unhoused, but like we've mentioned all through this meeting, that's a target population who is very at risk, and we want to make sure that we're looking out. There's the yard sign. Okay. We'll be tabling and working with those organizations at events from May through July. Community workshops, pop-up events. This is a very wonderful activity book. We'll hope you'll stop by if you see the table or someone else with these materials and grab one of these sort of outreach via children. But it also, teaches them the value of safe driving. Okay, ready? Here it is. If you'd like to get involved, please do. Please reach out. You can reach out to Anna and she'll connect you with me, or if you want to talk after the meeting, I'm here. Thank you. There will be a table at Music in the Valley this Sunday. If you,
I was just, are you reading my text?
I found, is that?
You are reading my, you're reading my phone. It's like, can you get these at Music in the Valley?
Yes, they'll be there.
Ooh, that's great.
That's wonderful. Yeah, so that's the story. Thank you. We'll be out and around through July, and then I'll be back in the fall to share results.
So while Senator Foley asking for input, would love to play with this technical thing and share the video with you. So go ahead now.
This is really exciting, and I am hosting a music festival on Sunday, Music in the Valley, with our middle and high school music performers. And so it's an all-day event, and I thought this would be great to have on our table to hand these things out, but I guess my staff is way ahead of me on this, because I just think it's a great audience. It's a perfect audience to have this information and pass it out. So it's great. I'm excited about the messaging, particularly, and how impactful can it be to see a helmet and a shoe of a child on the ground. It's just so moving. And we've had a couple of fatalities of young people that it really touches me. So it will get people to slow down, because we know that speed kills, and we don't think we're speeding. We think it's everyone else is speeding around us. And it really is us speeding too, just because we're not planning our destination quick enough, or a trip. We're not giving ourselves enough time. But I think this messaging can be really important. And I do want to thank the VTA for the generous donation of all the signage that you've done for the campaign. It's really important and will be impactful. And I did see the one billboard right outside of City Hall's window. That's great. Are we ready?
And then mute this video so we don't get feedback.
Okay, let's.
You go first.
I've spoken a lot already, so.
No, but
It doesn't. Sally, you're being polite. Go ahead.
We are, in to dovetail on this, we're doing a simultaneous campaign on distracted driving, the DMS. And ours is sort of a child and a man with a bunch of stuff coming out of his head with energy. And so, and in fact, it's supposed to end. This is Distracted Driving Month. April is, but it's going, we had to do a lot in a very short time. And so it's going to May 11th. So it too, and we've had very good success with malls. As you walk through the malls, those, we've tried a suggested kiosk there. But we're doing it in 4 languages, which could, along with Tagalog, simple Chinese, and Vietnamese, of course, English and Spanish. But we really had to put this together very, very quickly. But it is, and we've had very great success. Well, pretty good success. I have the numbers I just sent to Michelle. This was a public health thing that became an EMS thing. And, but it is, I like the photos. I like what you had done. We did exactly the same thing without a phone and audio and everything. It was like just change the picture a little bit, and it looks, so it was very successful. It's great that they're dovetailing one on the other. And so I think it'll be very successful. So congratulations to, the community out for you. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the chart that shows your speed and the time it takes, the distance it takes to slow down. Is there, I guess, what maybe, I don't know if I call it a peak or not, but when we did some work in wayfinding and sort of, talking about like it's a quarter mile to your nearest grocery store, people go like, oh, quarter mile seems so far. Well, what if I said it's like 3 minutes? Oh, 3 minutes is super close. I can get there in 3 minutes, right? I'm not sure if people understand like how far 25 is. Is it like 3 seconds or is that 4 seconds? Is that 5 seconds? That's a good point. It's going to determine how fast you go. And so that's what it shows. It shows like, 50 miles an hour, it's like this amount of feet. But I don't know how much time that is for me to stop and then that feet. Anyways, that's just a point. That's it.
We have a couple of different ways that we try to handle that because, this is a ton of information, this little chart. One of them is that you're 4 times as likely to kill someone if you're driving 45 as you are at 25. We're finding that that's very powerful. And on the interactive quiz where it asks, it makes you kind of engage and say, how do you plan a trip? How do you decide what the right speed is? We do say, as far as 2 bowling lanes, we kind of make it into more understandable lengths. I hear you.
Yeah, 25 miles an hour, it's a second, right? To slow down or 2 seconds to slow down. So again, it's just something, and it's just people tend to respond differently around and how long it's going to take me to get to that conclusion.
It's a difficult problem to present because you also want to consider perception reaction time, what people are doing. Right? So oftentimes, a lot of fatalities that I've investigated, they didn't even see them today.
Yeah.
So when did you apply the brakes? Not in front of the brakes until it happened, which means they didn't see it, which means the stopping distance made no difference whatsoever. So it's complicated to address that.
Other comments?
Question, in terms of like the lawn signs, information that's going out to the community, how are you engaging the neighborhood associations to get that information out to them?
We have, we're partnerships. We're partnering with various organizations. So I have a list if you'd like to check in more detail.
So in part of my department, we operate a lot of connections with communities, right? So we have a lot of places to do it, and some specific neighborhood projects that
Oh, yes.
right, bring out that stuff to our folk and they can hear about it.
That would be fantastic. I think
We actually work with project all the community engagement, and we working with every single house office to do this. These haven't actually get 25 or 50 something yesterday. So it's really in the neighborhood and it's light to be the very first one, get this on your.
the first one on your block.
Is there, I know this is Distracted Driver Awareness Month. We did a recognition at a city council meeting a couple weeks ago for it. They're tied together in the speeding time, the speed driving through, hitting someone is the same, or the results are the same if you're driving distracted and using a cell phone, and whether you're using it wireless or hands-free or not, you're still distracted to some level. So I'm just wondering in future, this is a great campaign, but something to think about might be how can we combine the two? Because it's not just driving fast, it's driving distracted may be a bigger problem than, they're both issues. So any other questions? You like it? You're ready to embrace it and help? It's good. Well, I really appreciate this. I remember when you were going out to survey people, I thought that's gonna work. Well, I'm sorry, I'm just skeptical of surveys and, whether people are gonna be honest in the information they're giving you, but what you come up with, I think is really, really impactful. So I'd like to invite you all, that leads me to the press conference. We're having a press conference on May 8th at noon. And it's going to be there's going to be an island, there's an island there. Old Tully and 7th Street near the fairgrounds. And that's where we're doing the press conference with E7 because that's your district. And the more people we can get, that would be great. Hopefully you can be there. Press conferences don't last too long, so about half an hour or so. Hopefully that you can join us to that. Thank you for that presentation and the materials, and I'll see you on Sunday. I'm looking forward to having all of that information. Any other comments, questions, thoughts about this or any of the other reports? I want to thank you all for hanging in there. I really appreciate it. I thought I was going to lose quorum and I didn't. So thank you so much for me scolding you and really begging you to stay on so that we can have this important work, because it is really important for us to see and enable us to move forward with it. So if there's no other questions, let's go to open forum. Yeah, we'll start here in the audience. You have 2 minutes and we will wrap it up at 3:30. Gail, go ahead.
Question, if I may, 2 questions. I live on a really busy street and it's crazy, and I live in the senior mobile park. Do I need permission to put like a couple of signs on the sidewalk and that's on the dirt? Is that fine? Yes. I mean, you need permission. I mean, from they're not the property owner, but it's city street. Okay,
So maybe we can take that question
Okay.
offline.
And then I just want to say tomorrow, we have a walk San Jose meeting, and the chairperson has asked all of us on the committee, I represent the unhoused on this committee, to write down places where, let's say, the unhoused congregate. So how can we get a lot of these? Will this be talked about maybe tomorrow, Jesse? You know?
So at this point, for public comment, we write out all of your comment and then we will back you. You probably still answer at this point. So very limited time.
Okay, yeah, but I can take a couple. Okay.
Recording, I'll do something. Any other members of the audience who would like, yes,
Yeah, kind of like off that actually.
can you identify yourself too?
Sorry. Jake Blind.
Thank you.
Kind of building off of that, being able to place signs and stuff like that, but allowing like residential neighborhoods like off of the priority safety corridors aren't always super dangerous, but some of them are. And people drive pretty fast alone, and it's sometimes a perceived danger. It's not really there, but sometimes it is. And I think giving people a way to have like a greater control over like the space in front of their homes, like a really simple way people do it is the little like plastic crossing guard figure with the red flag, seems like slow or whatever. But having some sort of process where neighborhoods can like paint their streets or put out planters or something to slow or calm traffic. I know you can't just have like a refrigerator or some big refrigerator in the middle of the road and call a traffic cop, but like some way to allow people to encroach on other public space if they're on planter, painting on the road or something. They're they give it a greater sense of like space to the people who live there, the cars cutting or something like that. That's all.
Thank you. So the purpose of open forum is to listen to your comments. We won't be discussing them today, but it doesn't mean we won't be incorporating them into future discussions. Thank you for that.
Any more public comment in the room?
Do we have anyone online?
Yes, we have quite a lot.
We have quite a lot on, okay. How many is quite a lot, Anna?
About 6.
Okay.
Okay, Mary Lou, would you like to unmute yourself?
Good afternoon. My name is Mary Lou Avanzino, and I live in District 2. And I noticed that there's always this solemn moment when the committee recounts people killed since the last Vision Zero meeting. Yet how can this Vision Zero committee create safer street conditions when the city of San Jose does not fill in gaps in the city's sidewalks? That is my question. For instance, on the east side of Edenvale Avenue, the District 2 street where Hayes Mansion is also located, there is no sidewalk where the Santa Teresa Mobile Home Park has a gate and its resident adults and school children exit the mobile home park. Imagine children, mothers pushing strollers. They must walk into the car lane after exiting the gate. And as Dr. Mary Ann DeWan, the Santa Clara County Superintendent of Schools, highlighted earlier in this meeting, sidewalks are really needed for school safety. The District 2 councilman, Sergio Jimenez, and prior to him, Ash Calva, were both aware of the lack of sidewalk at the mobile home gate, but were unable to fund a sidewalk. Not knowing if DOT can pressure the city council to spend money to build a sidewalk on the north side of Edenvale, I would still request that Vision Zero staff do that. Ask the city council to fund a sidewalk so pedestrians do not have to walk into the street. On a positive note, I applaud DOT for recently installing speed bumps on Edenvale Avenue to slow speeding cars, and I eagerly await the installation of one more speed bump as promised by DOT staff to complete this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I mispronounced your name. Yogendra Sahu. Would you like to unmute yourself?
Hi, my name is Yogendra, and I live on Chenoweth Avenue. And I would like to point out there is a very dangerous situation going on with pedestrian safety on Chenoweth Avenue, which is a single lane street with posted sign of 40 miles per hour speed limit, which I feel like is too much, and drivers definitely drive above it when they approach, especially from Snell to Lean Avenue. There's no control on the speed on the street. And there are a lot of blind spots where pedestrians stand to and they wait to cross the streets either side of the Chenoweth. The drivers taking left or right turn, they usually ignore if there is a pedestrian standing and waiting to cross the road on even on the posted walkways. So I've reached out to Councilman Jimenez office and Department of Traffic as well, and I would appreciate it even if it under the program Vision Zero, if we could start recording concerns that you get from citizens and giving them a case number or a file number so that we can track our concern and get more details on what's going on our concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Patricia, would you like to unmute yourself?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. So I live in District 7. I live in the Seven Trees neighborhood, and I bike commute once a week to Mountain View. Sometimes I do everything by bike, and sometimes I take the train from either Capitol Expressway or Canyon Station. But most of the time, if it's not raining, I bike. I want to commend you for this initiative. I think it's great, and I hope it makes our streets safer. When I commute from my neighborhood, I have to either take Capitol Expressway or Monterey Road, and those are really dangerous roads, particularly East Capitol Expressway, with basically no bike lane to speak of, and cars speeding by. Same in Monterey. We need traffic calming devices or measures over there. And also, I want to say that if you commute using the bike trails, like Guadalupe River Trail, we need some serious maintenance of those trails, because right now I have to cross through various encampments to get to my destination. And finally, I would like to say that we need sidewalks also on Seven Trees, particularly on the streets that lead to Capitol Expressway Caltrain Station. I'm sorry, to Capitol Caltrain Station, because right now there are no sidewalks from Seven Trees to Capitol Caltrain. So all of us have to bike, have to walk, on the street and share all that space with cars. So I know I mentioned a lot of things, and I hope you'll take them into consideration. Maintenance of trails, building sidewalks, and traffic calming measures. Thank you.
David, would you like to unmute yourself?
Good afternoon. Congratulations to the group. This is my first meeting, so I may be asking a question that's already been touched on, and maybe you can just direct me to where I can find the information. I heard the word bumps, and I'm familiar with 3 words: bumps, humps, and lumps. And I would like to know what the city's official policy is on when these are appropriate, and if someone thinks they should have one in their neighborhood, how do they go about interacting with the city to have that considered and reviewed? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just going to throw out an easy answer to that, David. I don't usually engage, but I will contact your council member for the speed bumps, humps, and lumps. A council member is the one who helps advocate for that for you.
Wait, Kate, would you like to unmute yourself?
Thank you very much. I have a couple of things. First of all, thank you to the Department of Transportation, San Jose Police Department, and the Morgan Hill Union School District for taking care of some traffic conditions around the Martin Murphy Middle School and the Los Paseos Elementary School down here, a little bit beyond Bernal Road on Santa Teresa. Thank you very much for the effort you've done there. And a lot of work continues onward. Number 2, so thank you very much for that work. Number 2 is on the distribution map that you showed, showing priority corridors, street signs, light pole banners, and billboards. Could you expand that map to go down beyond Bernal Road to show what's happening beyond Bernal Road, which is also part of San Jose? I think that's pretty much it. So thank you very much for this meeting. This is my first meeting also, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Rosalinda, would you like to unmute yourself?
Hi, good afternoon. This is Rosalinda Aguilar from the Guadalupe, Washington neighborhood, board member of the association. Thank you for the meeting this afternoon. I have been attending these meetings for the last few years or since they started. My first ask is I hope that you will start to focus on the neighborhood traffic safety instead of just the high traffic corridors. I understand there's a real need there, but some of our neighborhoods are in real need of traffic safety updates as well. I do love that you sent out a survey to all of your schools. My concern is the schools that didn't respond. I'm glad that you had such a great response from the majority of them. But I would love for you to work with like your local councilman's office and the local schools in their districts, and then work with the neighborhood associations and have meetings at our monthly meetings and bring out the community. Because you may have a school that doesn't want to participate or didn't answer your survey, but if you bring the residents out of that particular community, you may hear a lot of concerns. And along with that, I think that there are a lot of schools that are being left out of a comprehensive safety plan. And I never know whose responsibility it is to mandate a school put a safety plan in place. San Jose Police Department, the school district, Vision Zero, the councilman's office, etc. So I'm glad that you're starting to work with the schools. And I envision a time when you actually come out to our meetings and listen to the actual communities of the neighborhoods and hear our concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Gina, would you like to unmute yourself?
Hello, this is Gina LeBlanc. My son, as you know,
probably many of you, my son Kyle was killed in the city in 2016, and there were multiple issues with where he was killed at Kirtner in 87. And one of them was a lack of a sidewalk. So I was hearing previous speakers zero in on the lack of sidewalk, and that really is an issue. Like if we really want people to walk safely in our city, they need to have a sidewalk actually to walk on that won't be full of mud, which is what happened to my son. And then he stepped into unprotected bike lane and was hit by a tow truck. So, and I, as a representative of all the families who have been impacted by traffic violence, I want to thank you for the work being done in the school area. And I think this is so key because schools are in our neighborhoods. I'm around the corner from the school, and I'm always really fearful about the congestion and the traffic. And I really appreciate that you sent out that survey. I agree with the last speaker who had an excellent point about getting out to neighborhood associations and trying to gather more info from the people who did not respond. And I think, you know, once we really focus on the safety around our schools, we're really focusing on individual neighborhoods, and it's so, so important. So thank you for that work. That's my comment. Thank you for today.
Thank you, Sheila. Bianca, would you like to unmute yourself?
Hi, yes, my name's Bianca and I live at on West Heading Street. And I'm speaking today on behalf of the request for a crosswalk on West Heading and Redwood in this four-way intersection. The speed limit on West Heading Street is 35 miles an hour. And there's a number of pedestrians that cross the neighborhood across on Redwood and West Heading, and they cross to Valley Fair, and it's a high traffic route for pedestrians and bicyclists. And there has been, in the past couple months, there's been a bicyclist that's been hit at this intersection and a car accident, and we're requesting to have a crosswalk put in to slow traffic, increase visuals of the pedestrians and the bicyclists, and also a bulb out too to help break up the sight lines for the drivers. I've already put in a request with Carla Corvera and Dev Davis, and I've requested for a review of this intersection during the highest use times, which is on the weekends, but it has not happened yet, and I would like to push to increase safety at this intersection. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we are.
That's it. That's it. Thank you all for the public comment. Thank you all for the task force members for staying here. I really appreciate it. We'll see you at our next meeting, which is